Trying to show without showing too much. But like see how it has the whole color,
Mm.
Yeah, okay.
whereas with the modern one, it just has like the little it's like the little
Like a tag
theme.
at the bottom thing at the.
It's sort of in the session. So all the sessions look white, if that makes sense. And it's
Yes.
just this little thing. So even though you click on the modern theme, um, use agenda colors, it doesn't cover over the blocks.
Mm.
Hmm.
And look, we use the modern theme, but the modern one on our smaller events where we only have two concurrent rooms. When you've got 12 and people are picking based on the cut, like their session theme,
So do you do it as a track? Are they separate tracks?
yeah.
And so people can filter by track though, right?
Yeah, but they want
Not
to do all the
easily.
different, but they might have already looked at we try to tell them as much as possible, look and plan your agenda like on a big screen before you come on site and tag them as your like, so they
Right.
favorites, so they go into your my agenda. Um, but yeah, I just don't want to use it until because I just know it will be on site. It'll be the biggest complaint we get. Like, where's our color blocks gone?
Hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll let
But
everyone else test it and then maybe we'll just have to bear it 1 year and especially if the
yeah.
concierge comes in, then it'll be easy. Then they could just search, I guess, for their sessions.
You might be able to get around it with some custom branding or custom like Bootstrap CSS maybe in the meantime. I never fiddle with
Yeah,
that.
I'll
It's
do
always a bit
that.
of fun. But yeah, the apps are always a bit funny though. Those
I wondered that too. I'm just having a look because we've got
Yeah,
yeah.
we worked with them a lot last year when because I think last year the modern app came out and we worked a lot with support to try and work out. And I think even at the events air conference, I think I even put it like, can you please make the modern theme have the block? Like it doesn't seem like such a if it's something in the old, why it can't be done in the new. Because the new app, I really like the look of the new app. Like
hmm.
it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it now and because we sort of we sort of use tracks in a little bit of a different way. They're kind of like type, sort of like session type in a way. Um, and so it works okay in this way because it just have that little pill, like is what they call it, like as a it's
Yeah.
just the track name and then the color of it. Um, but that it does just seem a bit weird that when you can put in custom session background colors, why that wouldn't just come through as the block.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
know. Because
Like,
you press the button.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Sean, the trick with the CSS would be whether the handle
Because you
for yeah is there. Yeah, to
yeah, I'm
be
not
able.
sure if they tag it with the like the agenda class or something like that.
That's
Probably not,
right.
but it's probably some
No,
GUID or something like that that changes every time you refresh the bloody screen. So
exactly. That's right.
yeah.
That's the hard thing.
I think with the new modern app, the intention I think that they're going for is to make it filterable and searchable, so you don't need those same visual cues where you're looking at everything and trying to figure it out. I think that if you know, I know from playing with the filters and whatnot, it's actually easier to find what you're looking for. But that's because I'm a tech user and that's how I would normally do it. But I think a lot of people who are looking at them, they want to see, and we get this all the time on sites. Like, cut it to a PDF printout, and I'll just literally tick it off. That's what they want on the mobile, which is, you know, obviously a
Mm.
huge technical challenge to try to figure out how to make that work for everyone. But to have the option would be, obviously preferable, especially if they had it before. It's not like it's some groundbreaking technology they need to add in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it it is one of those things because I think it seems like most events have gone digital. Like the idea of printing a program, a full big program, I think is the days are numbered
Hmm.
or are gone. Um, but there isn't an exact sort of conversion to digital where it's like it's the same experience. It's not like you can't say that what you're seeing on your phone is the same as what you would see when you open a big program. And so that is a
Unless instead of
challenge.
scrolling down this way, you scroll over this.
I know,
Yeah.
but that's
It's
hard
never
too,
going to happen.
right? No. And I mean, I've created something like that that you can scroll across the tracks, but even then, you're not the viewport is
Yeah,
so narrow that you kind of want a bigger picture because your eyes sort of jumping around, and people are used to it when they're looking at concurrent sessions, which is why we end up with 4K screens everywhere with that view so that they can see it, kind of what's happening for the day. But that's not ideal either. So it's still like, what is
yeah,
the
yeah.
best
And I
thing?
guess we've really tried to educate our delegates, to like we open the app early to tell them, go in. But then it's so disappointing when they go and star all their things and then their My Agenda gets wiped.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
Yeah.
but trying to, just letting them know, like, it's a bit like when you're watching Netflix or whatever, you go and pick some
Yeah,
sessions that you want to go and see. So I think sometimes it's the education, but it is, like at our breaks, all those big TVs, people are just huddled around to
yeah,
try and
Mm.
find what session they're going to next.
What I'd love to see is one of those things like kind of like they have at a mall where you have a touch screen. Yeah, bring up your own personal agenda somehow, and then pick the sessions you want on a large format. Because I think the thing that the phone loses, like you're saying, Grant, is that you've got the small form factor. You can't get a sense of the scale. You can't
yeah,
quickly go, oh, there's 7 concurrents here or 15 concurrents. I don't
that's right.
want these ones. Like it's hard to keep everything in your mind, I think. But you
Yeah,
still need that personalization and interaction. So it's a real problem, and I don't know how you'd even solve it. Like I said,
Mm.
the
That would
crazy
be
thing is, yeah.
Sean, that's such a good idea. That would be a great
Mm.
thing if we could get the name tag kiosks to flip. Like,
Mm,
because once the bulk, because most of
mm,
the time you end up still sitting around with name tag kiosks
that's
that you
true,
could
actually.
turn. Oh,
Oh
how
yeah.
good would that be? That then, you've done your bulk, your name tags, you still keep, then they could just go and queue up and do exactly like what you're saying in a mall. Yeah. Mm.
Tell you what, put a sponsor logo on that too. You got another
Yeah.
in. I think you're onto something here, guys.
yeah. That is cool. I like the idea that you would be logged in as you as well, and so that
Scan your QR
yeah,
code.
and then you're picking something, you're picking the things that you're interested in. Yeah, because I think it has to be super clear when things are on at the same time. Because
Mm.
just putting sessions all the way down it's not clear. Oh, hang on, I
Mm.
can't go to both of those because they're on at the same time.
Mm.
That's a tricky thing that I've tried to mess around with. The thing, if I can get the signage working this time, the thing that could be a game changer for us is because they're so stupidly tall. Talking about Kelly, talking about I'm in Auckland at the moment, so it's
Mm.
NZICC, and they've got these ridiculously tall and very narrow room cards, like
Mhm.
and out the front. And so getting it to sort of work where the text is big enough to be able to read it is a challenge. But then there's all this extra space. And so by the time you sort of say, oh, these are the sessions that are in this room for the day, you've still got 3/4 of the screen below. And so I've added a section at the bottom that says sessions um, sessions happening elsewhere right now. And so it only shows those sessions that are happening in what other rooms. And so then the idea, we'll see if this works. The idea is that every room you go to has what's happening in every other room as well at the bottom of the screen. So that will be interesting if I can make it work. But also it's at your knee or calf height as well, your shin height. And so that's
That's
going to
what I don't
be,
understand with those things.
Who
Why?
designed that?
Yeah,
I
who's
know,
looking down there?
I
Yeah.
know. No, we're gonna have people all
My
bent
goodness.
over trying
Yeah.
to read it all.
I
Um,
like the idea that you mentioned there, Sean, and something that would be cool as well, like expanding on that shopping center directory of like, oh, you want to go to these two sessions, but they're like literally opposite points. You're not going to make it in time.
Yeah, a little bit of wayfinding kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or just be like, you either have to leave early or miss the start. Like, we don't suggest you do that.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I always try and get my programs so that everyone, like all the sessions in a particular block make sense for them to watch all of them rather than like ducking in and out of different rooms just with like one session.
So what if they're that concierge AI thing that they've released can do something like that? If that's something that's, within its scope of ability, because it's kind of like hard to know, I guess, from just looking at events here, like what's the physical distance between these two rooms? I don't think there's anywhere really to do it. But if you
No.
had like custom fields or something, I don't know if you could do that. It'd be an interesting use case if you could get it to work, because
Mm.
those little things, that's where you need an AI to figure that out per case on the fly
Yeah,
would be
I've
amazing.
I've thought about that as far as of uploading floor plans and scaled floor plans so that you could AI could say that that is X number of meters or whatever,
Mm,
um, and then calculate, yeah, that'll be 5 minutes walk or something.
yeah.
So especially at in Sydney ICC, if you're going between the convention center and the exhibition, it's a big walk.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I was thinking about those sorts of possibilities of calculating that stuff.
Mm,
But I really I like the idea that people like, and this is what concierge I think is trying to do as well, is be able to suggest sessions as well, so that it's like, okay, you're asking about these ones, then would you like to go to this one tomorrow? Would you, and so kind of surfacing some stuff,
mm.
which is all doable when it knows the full program and it knows the bios of everyone and it knows, like all of that. And
This
then it
is yeah.
asks you a few questions about what you're hoping to see, and then it makes suggestions. That's an interesting idea because then it's creating an agenda for you. Um,
Yeah, I think so. This is the challenge with all the AI stuff now, and I found it for other things we've done as well, is that it means you've got to be really good with your preloading of data. I know we've
con
had things with that we were
context
looking
is
at.
everything.
It really is. I mean, we did the chatbot stuff when we were sort of like, this is back when ChatGPT first came out, kind of thing. Going, well, what we actually need is basically a really detailed FAQ per event and everything else, which is great, but that's and how AI can help you format it and maybe enrich it a bit, but you still need to do that work up front. And the crazy thing about it though is that we found that the value is in doing that work less so than having the chatbot be able to look at it, because just having literally an FAQ on the website for the event, that in itself saves you a lot of time. But
Hmm.
yeah, so it doesn't turn out to be a time saver in the sense that now you've got to do all this work that probably should have been getting done before. But it kind of standardizes that need to have it there. People kind of go, well, we don't have a chatbot if we don't have the FAQ. If we don't have the FAQ, then, you know.
Yeah.
So it's funny because like our processes have actually improved in that area because of it. So you're sort of going, okay, well, it's not how you would think you would improve production wise with AI, but it in a roundabout way it works out. So yeah, it's weird.
I totally get that. I think that what's happening now is that we're starting to think about generating the right content for other agents to look at,
Yeah.
and so it's like now this whole page may not be read by a human, but it could be read by, an AI agent, and we want to make sure that all that data is correct. Um, which is it's funny watching back and forths of emails. I've seen videos of people talking about emails going back and forth between people, and it obviously is going from one one AI agent to another AI agent, and it's just going back and forth, with human interaction, of course, but then it's giving it a direction. But it's starting to be a different world as far as how we communicate.
It is, and it's weird because I think that now we've gone to the assumption that there's an AI involved in this queue, and it's kind of an idiot. So it's not going to
Yeah,
go, oh, I missed this information. I don't know how many car parks there are at this event. I'll just work it out. It goes, I'll make something up, and then you're in
yeah,
real trouble. So you kind of have to be specific enough to, I guess, cover all the bases as much as you can, which really, I said, from day one is something that probably should have been getting done, but you can always sort of rely on, you know, somebody in the customer service to go, actually, I'll look that up on the fly, or I'll figure that out, or I'll make a best guess. But yeah, if you want to, I guess, cut the human corner, you've got to pay the data tax. Yeah.
Well,
I like it.
I'm so Lisa, our conversation last week is, I think, is still, I mean, a month ago, I was thinking, am I even going to get to New Zealand? You know, and are all the people going to? And what I thought wouldn't be possible was in that I took a direct flight from Adelaide to Auckland, and it was 3/4 full. You know, I was like, I expected that it would probably get something like that would get cancelled, although the plane did change, and so it was a smaller plane. You know, like it's still 6 seats wide, and but it was like 35 rows or whatever it is instead of the 60 rows or whatever. And so they changed the plane, but it still went ahead. But I'm still, I don't know, still reading the tea leaves that things don't look great sort of in the next few months or even longer, which could be very interesting, not just for travel, but just for energy usage in general, and what that means for events, and especially for events that are required, CPD based, like they just have to happen regardless. I don't know if
I might have said in our meeting last week that we could kind of be a bit smug because we're ones that have continued with the hybrid, even though I've been to so many conferences where people are like, hybrid is dead, and but it depends on your membership. So it's kind of nice now that I feel like, oh, okay, we kept doing it, and and I don't have to like pivot and scramble. But
rub it in, Lisa. Rub it in.
And I also got an electric car at the start of January. So, I'm just being one of those. Yeah. But look,
mine's coming this week, hopefully.
Oh, nice.
But I'm also quite surprised at how domestic airfares don't seem to have super increased that much.
I know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, which I don't understand, because I'm like, like booking, some late speakers that didn't get organised, and I'm paying the same as kind of what I was when I booked the other flights in Jan, Feb. So
it is interesting though, because I was looking at flights Melbourne to Perth, maybe 4 weeks ago, and it was looking at like $1,400 for 2 people on Virgin, and that, like, I've never paid that high to go to Perth,
that's
and like
high.
and like months in advance as well booking. So I didn't book, and I thought about it some more, and then I got a sale thing, and it was back to normal prices. I'm like, I'm guessing they've done that increased standard price sale price is what you used to pay, but I was like, that's actually reasonable now. It's back to the like normal price, and I can book now. But yeah, it was a bit of a shock like 4 weeks ago, going like, holy crap, I'm not going to go be able to travel home again for a while until the shit sorts out. So I think people stopped booking, and they were like, shit, now we just have to do sale flights, and people then will book. So
yeah, I don't know. It feels like in general that I don't know if it's head in the sand or whatever, but it just feels like, oh, we'll just play on until we can't play on, like that's what it feels like. But I just keep hearing a lot of stuff that's affected by shipping, particularly, and especially for Australia. We're at the end of the line. And so when I hear government saying, oh, we've secured these X million amount of, of fuel, and you're like, so that's a day and a half of usage, it's like, I don't understand. It's amazing how there's a whole world that we just completely ignore, like that there must be how many massive oil tankers that's coming in all the time, and then all this stuff that was just like, oh, that's just a system that works that we never care about until it can't work anymore. But I don't know. I just think I keep looking at things that seem like it's going to have a pretty big impact, and so yeah, Lisa, the fact that we've continued doing online events and hybrid events and things, do you think that a shift to online only would be a possibility for you guys? Like, as in, that would be easier because you've done hybrid all the way through?
Oh, I think there's still very much a big demand for face to face.
Sure.
I think it's just been a nice thing that we've been able to add, and I think we're also lucky that we can be quite selective of what content we do stream and to push people to still come in person. But yeah, I mean, I might be looking at changing some of the Q4 events to maybe just be a recording.
Yeah.
If we're worried about, especially, it's just, Perth is definitely one of the hard ones, Kelly. I agree with you. It's super expensive.
And at least you have talked about it before, but you charge the same for in person and online as well, right?
Only the conference is different. The conference, because they only get half of the sessions, if that makes sense. So if we're doing 12 concurrents, they actually only get the lecture sessions. So I don't charge them the same. But we've just run 2 events in March that I did charge exactly the same for face-to-face or in-person or virtual. It was post-event recordings, because as I said, it's the same amount of ZPD points. They're getting the same content. The only difference is I'm not feeding them, but I have to put in a whole lot of extra AV to be able to record
that's right.
it. Yeah. And to be honest, it was a bit controversial when I wanted to price it the same. Everyone in the office was like, everyone's going to complain, and it was crickets.
Yeah.
They wanted the content.
Yeah.
And the pricing was still reasonable. Yeah. It was only one person who was meant to come in person and then had to swap, which is amazing because I just could swap them to a recording. There was no refunds or whatever. They were the only one that said, oh, is there a difference in the price? And I said, well, no. So it was only one person. And so the 2 events in March, I reckon we would have had like almost 400 registrations. So, yeah. And it is, like, I think it's also putting value to the delegates, realising, I think we all are feeling the AV costs are huge, that trying to emphasise why we're not feeding you, we have to put in a lot of very expensive equipment and then post-event editing to actually make it worthwhile for you.
Yep. To do it well. And I think that's the thing, is that some people think of hybrid and they put a laptop at the lectern and be like, I'll just put Zoom on there and away it goes. It's like, what, it's not that expensive. It's like, to do it properly and to have a good experience online, to make sound work really well, to have, some multiple cameras and to be able to see the, projection screen directly and all that sort of stuff. Takes
and I like that
gear.
for those 2, we knew how technical they were going to be, that we gave us, I think, like 3 or 4 days post-event buffer to actually edit them up so they look fantastic.
That's right.
There's no, oh, hang on, why we, which was all the in-person got, but they just looked a lot more schmick.
Yep, agreed. Kia ora, Francie.
Oh, look at you with your ale. Well done. Are you in my country, are you?
I'm in your fan land. I am. Yes.
How's the weather up there?
It's nice. It's all right. Not that I get out very much, but it's all right. It's actually even worse because I'm staying at the hotel on site that has the little walkway through, so I don't have to go outside at all.
I actually don't have to go outside.
But I am forcing myself to, because
I was going to say, who needs fresh air?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah. So
I have an instant question which I'm actually working on with the team in the back end as well.
I see. Francie was like, I'm not going to AirHeads today.
No,
screw that. And then she's like, oh, hang
I
on,
wanted
I need to
to,
ask them something.
and my other team were like, we need a meeting. And I'm like, oh, but we saw each other. I want to go to AirHeads. uh, meeting, and then I might just have to reach out to you directly, Grant. But we used the attendee app last week and with our meeting matching that we've done.
Oh yeah.
And
Talked about
we asked our sellers to use the no-show button to make sure, because we had a number of people that weren't showing up, and they're hosted buyers. And then on Friday I went to pull a report and couldn't find anything, so I asked support, and there is no report that can pull the no-show data from the app, which feels a little pointless.
So can you see it on an individual level? Like if you go to a contact, you can see it?
You have to go into each individual, into the meeting. So you have to open up the registration type thing in the thing, go to their diary, and then go to edit on each session to see if it was marked as a no-show.
Wow.
And I'm just wondering if your
Maybe
little background
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
can
Maybe.
potentially help out because over here meetings, our big meetings event, which is like a mini AIM, I know that they track it. So I've said, what about meetings? And of course, because events are their sponsor, then they get all sorts of custom stuff.
Custom report. Yeah.
So she's actually just come back saying to talk with my account manager. So I'll check in to see if there is something, because going forward, obviously we want the functionality. But I guess just to point out that if you use the no-show, you can't actually report on it. And I am for this one thing. Normally I have too much other stuff to do, but I will send a thing to product like they suggest and be like, what's the point if you can't pull that information?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because you want the stats at least, even just the total number, right? Would be nice.
Yeah.
But obviously the individuals as well that can be followed up on and whatever. So.
And like, there's some people who we can say, look, we know that you didn't attend because we had people coming to tell us. But ultimately we don't actually have the data. And when we're paying for these people for accommodation and travel and stuff, we want proof to be able to say, look, these sellers marked you as. And also, if there are people that there are a number of people who had meetings with those particular buyers who didn't tell us. So, if there are other buyers out there who are in the same boat that didn't show, we've had people in our feedback, some of our sellers saying, mutual appointments didn't show up. It's like, well, we want to know about that. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how it works. I've never done it in the event app. All I know is I was lucky enough to go as a hosted buyer to the meeting show in Singapore, and they were using a different app to AIM, which was whatever it was. I don't know. I can't find out who it was. It was actually really good. But instead of like the no-show, after each meeting, you had to rate the meeting. So I don't know if that's...
You could do a session survey.
So I had to rate the meeting. They also had to rate the meeting. So I don't know whether that's something, like I'm just putting it out there. Why I thought
like
of it.
Uber. It's like an Uber rating. It's like, then this hosted buyer has a rating of 3 out of 5. Like, oh no, I'm not sure I'll take this meeting.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
thanks, Lisa. That's a potentially great idea.
I want to know what my rating is now.
That's right. That's right. I want to read all my comments. So yeah, from the only way that I would do it would be from the API, and it just depends on whether they have exposed that field, that specific field, from a contacts point of view. I'm not sure whether they have or not.
Yeah.
Just had a look. They don't seem to have it. They've got it for the CE module, like for
Yeah.
the courses, but not for the meetings, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Unless they call it
Yeah.
something bizarre that's got nothing to do with no show. But that's weird. So where are you actually setting that no show? I haven't actually seen that before. So it's in the
But
app.
in the attendee app, there's when you pull across the meeting diary, the meetings module,
Yeah.
it shows up when you go into that app, into the each meeting,
Right.
each meeting that you've got organized. There's a no show and there's a notes.
Interesting. Okay, so yeah, you're right. I don't see any information that comes from that meeting section
Yeah.
at all, which is kind of weird.
And then the other thing that we had is that there were a couple of things with that diary that I've never noticed before. One is that every time they finished a meeting and went back out to the main diary, it would go to the top. And so particularly if you're at the end of the day, they'd have to scroll down to find out, which I know that happens with a number of different areas. And also there's no way, once the show is started, there's no way to look at different diaries, different days' diaries. It only shows you the day that you're in,
Really?
which means you can't go backwards and you can't go forwards. So again, it's just, and I don't remember it being like that when I was a hosted buyer, but yeah, really weird. Because the agenda doesn't do that throughout. You can always go where you need to go on the agenda. So yeah.
Okay.
Fun times.
Yeah.
It's been a good thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool feature to have.
It's a great feature.
Yeah.
And like we had great feedback for the meetings. We had, because if anyone needs to do meeting matching, come see me because I now know
Look at it work out.
all of that. So we did our buyers first, and when I did the meeting matching algorithm, the buyers got first preference, then neutral, and so I ran it about 3 or 4 times, I think. So it was buyer and mutual got first preference, and then we filled the rest up with seller preferences, exhibitor preferences. So it works really well, and the fact that you can push out those that preferencing and actually make it work for who it needs to work for. It's just that the app area is a bit lacking when it comes to usability.
Fair enough.
That was the other thing I was saying that was really good with this app, Francie, was that you could actually go in, because there was education programs, and so some of them I really wanted to go in. So before it was open to the buyers, I could actually go in and add those to my meetings as such. I could block out when I wanted to go and actually have lunch, so people couldn't book. So as a buyer, it was fantastic that I could plan my schedule so that then when it opened, people weren't booking when I wasn't available.
Yeah. Nice. You can kind of do that. So last year, the way that it was done is that they didn't actually do the preferencing and the meeting matching algorithm because it was someone who didn't know events here. They just went live with the diary, which meant that there were hundreds of emails, because every time you send a meeting request, you get an email that you've sent it, and the person getting it gets an email that you've sent it. Then when there's a cancellation or acceptance, again, you both get emails. So there were just so many emails. And it was just the timing of it. So like from that perspective, it went a lot better. And we did have some challenges where some of the sellers had like full diaries, and then near the end, because we had buyers who were off site, who were out of the country on trade shows, came back in the last couple of days before the diaries closed and cancelled meetings. And then these sellers were like, I had a full diary and then I lost like 6 or 7. And so there's all sorts of things around that we need to, just look at how we do things differently, but like generally it worked really well and we had really good feedback.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
What's the next thing?
I was going to give a little tip with the app. I got a we've got ePosters.
Oh yeah.
We're using a different system because it just is not a great experience in the app, particularly if you want to see the abstract.
Mm,
So if you know, like you're trying to view the abstract at the same time, and so we've tied into the same system that we use for ePosters on site, which is touchscreens. But the thing that I worked out, which is super nice, was being able to do an iframe. And so instead of like,
ah,
which is this is a totally separate website. And so now what's nice is when you're going between things, you know, like speakers, whatever, and then going to ePosters, it just bounces back. And it seems completely native to the um,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's really nice. So as in, there's probably times that everyone is using some other website that you're going to, and normally you create an icon and say, click here to go to something, and then it
Mm,
opens a new window in the app and takes you to whatever that is. Whereas, I mean, I can share the script for it, but it's just an iframe. Yeah, it's just HTML, an iframe that is taking up the full width and height,
yeah, right.
and then you're giving that iframe the URL. So as long as what you're going to will support being put inside an iframe,
Yeah.
then it works and works really well. I was actually really surprised, and that's obviously iPhone, but it worked great on
It looks great.
on Android as well. And it also is kind of like works rotating, you know, all of that has worked really well as well. So yeah, so you wouldn't know, right? You wouldn't know that it wasn't just a part of the app, which
Yeah, that's
opens up
good.
kind of like, oh, there's, you know, a few other things that we could, you know, could do with that.
Mm,
And so, yeah, because the other thing is that we want e-posters that can support video as well, and we've got that sort of working now, nice now too. So you sometimes you have e-posters that have little looping videos in them,
mm.
which doesn't work in natively in the Eventair way. So yeah. Anyway, that was my little tip for today was iframe.
Very
And
good.
that's a really good use case for ChatGPT. If you ever need to throw a website into an iframe and you can't remember how to do it, just say,
So good.
going to be an iframe for this URL. It's going to be for mobile. It'll set all the parameters for you, make sure it looks nice and everything else. And then you just copy paste that into the code view and you're good to go.
Well,
It's
that's
100%.
just such a good thing to
it is that's my main use case for
Mhm.
ChatGPT is it's like I can't be asked coding iframe, CSS, whatever. Do it for
Yep.
me and then paste it in. It's easy.
Totally agree. Yeah.
What I'm
It's
looking forward to after this conference is playing with the new website and because you can flip to see what it looks
do so
like
much
and no
more.
more coding with like, because we found, I think most of our people look at our website via a mobile device. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
yeah,
Even
me too.
But do we
knowing
know when,
most
because
that.
the interactive forms are meant to be having the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Rumor has it.
I'm going to be big and brave because I know we've talked about in the past to clone or not to clone,
That's
and
right.
I'm going to for the first time not clone, and I think it's going to be good. I'm excited because I've
It
just
will
realised we've got so much like merge docs that we're not using or
Yeah.
interactive forms, so we're going to be big and brave, and
well done.
we've got a bit more time to plan for the next one. So I'm not going to
There's a
clone. Wish me luck.
And
there,
remember, you can have two things open. As long as you duplicate the tab, you can have two tabs open with your events
yeah.
instance on both.
Yeah.
I often forget that.
Yeah, and Chrome
No.
Chrome has that nice way of having dual tabs connected as well. That's really
Really?
nice now too. Yeah, yeah. Um, and so yeah, you can split the tab and then you can have two tabs and then it just is one window and you can move it around, but it's got two tabs and you can move move the windows of it. It's really nice.
I've
It's
been
just in
using
Chrome.
Mozilla for a while. I'm
Right.
having a bit of a boycott of Meta and Google.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's a shame that pretty much the internet runs on all of that.
I've been using DuckDuckGo as my search engine and it seems to work.
Yeah, okay.
I go back and
Nice.
forth on that one. I've ended up with Brave for a while, actually. Brave search is actually not too bad. DuckDuckGo, I really want to love, but I just can't quite get it. I keep on thinking I'm going to de-Google my life, and then I realize like 98% of my life is actually run by Google, so it's a bit trickier than it
No.
looks.
Yeah, there is that issue.
Mhm. Well, I'm gonna go to your point, Sean, about ChatGPT doing CSS stuff. Like one of the issues with the apart from, as I told you, the digital signage being now 1080 and 300 wide, was that for the player to work, for the player to work, it needs to be 1080 wide. So the content has to be 1080 wide, and then it squashes it down to 300, which means for me generating web pages, I've got to generate 300 web pages, but then in CSS, stretch it to 1080.
And
So
then have it reduced automatically.
and then it reduces when it goes into the player. So all these websites look crazy when I test them, and so I've even had to create tools that then re-squash it again,
So you can make sure it looks like
so that it looks right, and then like all the
oh my
workarounds I'm doing.
goodness.
But to your point, it was like I was like, I think I could do it, but I mean, would I do it per element or can I do it somewhere else? And it was just like 30 seconds later, bang, it was done, and so I was thinking today of all the things that I'm doing, I'm now not having to think about how I do it. I'm just having to think what I want, like this is what I want the signage to do or look like or whatever. Go ahead and do it. And so it's a very different way of operating now, where I'm not looking at the code. I don't know. I know that it was like it's called oh, I don't even know what it's called. The CSS command was scale. Yeah, scale
Right.
X. Scale X is the command it's using, but I don't know how it was laid out and whatever anymore. I don't need to. I'm not even looking at it. If it doesn't work, I go back and say fix it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty amazing what we can do now.
That's a mental note I need to take on.
Yeah. Just give it a crack.
I don't use AI nearly as much as I think I probably could.
Yeah.
I think day to day, it's one of those things you don't, I mean, you can use it, but it's like, well, is it faster just to write my email myself? But with coding, where you know what you're doing and you know what you want to do, and you kind of have the right domain, it's just, oh my God, it just saves typing. Like you
Yeah.
can still review it and stuff, but
I tell you where I've found email writing, when I have like a tricky email to write, when it's like I need to respond to this, they're probably not going to like the answer. I need to explain a bunch of things, but I want it to
Yeah,
be
right.
really efficient. I've found amazing, just like I can just do a translate chat mode, like, and I just talk it out, and I just say, oh, these are all the things I want to say, and then it's like, okay, then it summarizes that, and then I read back over that, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. And that would have taken me an hour or two to really get that done, and now it's like a 15-minute process.
Yeah, no.
And I don't want slop. I don't want it just a 2-page email for the sake of it. I still want my email to be really concise, but it's
Yeah.
really good for that. Like to be able to say, no, these are my words. I'm not just handing it off to AI.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to say. It's just I got there way quicker because I was able to, kind of compress all the random thoughts into something that made sense. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good for that.
Nice. Well,
Right.
I got to run too.
Me too.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
Apparently the firewall is open, Sean, and they're
Oh.
they're testing now. So
Wow.
I've
Cool.
got to race back and see whether that's actually working.
Well, best of luck. Let me know how
Yeah.
you go and send
I will.
screenshots at the next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I will for sure.
All right. Best of
Sweet.
luck. Take care,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye
See you
bye.
guys.